Hi there, welcome back to BG Pythons. My name's Ben. This little fella is Bron, who's an exantic black-headed python I featured a while back. He's doing really well. Perfect little snake really. Obviously will grow quite a bit bigger. I'm very lucky to have this guy in my collection, and hoping in the future he will do a bit of action for me. But long way off that, but he's great. Now what this video is going to be talking about is following one of my dream school ball pythons having a very pretty crap shed, which is very unusual. It's never had a bad shed. It happens from time to time. You do sometimes need to just look at your parameters and all of those things. And I was thinking perhaps it might be the substrate that I use, lignosul, is just a bit dry and it just caught me out a bit. The key thing for me is lignosul is something I've used probably 15-20 years. It smells nice, it's very easy to spot clean. It is very dry, which is a bit of an issue. But what I sort of thought I would do, it was have a look at the coco husk that a lot of ball python breeders and keepers using these days. So that's primarily what this video is about, and just a bit of an update on how I've got on with it. Just on the dreamsicle, well, she's good as gold. All I had to do was just soak her for a bit in some warm water, and which he was quite happy to do. Not stressed at all. It's very good-natured python, and the skin just comes off then really easily. So I just helped to do that, so she's a bit more comfortable. And I know now she's settled into a new enclosure with her new substrate. She's already had a few small rats, so she's in a good place. I've actually already put my dream school male with her for this coming season, and they locked for ages. So fingers crossed that we get some good luck. Anyway, let's talk a bit more about the substrate and the Herp Husk. So the coco husk I bought is called Herp Husk, and it's by Ridgway Exotic, Ridgway Exotics, and it comes, it's quite compact and very easy to store. It's a complete solid block. There are other products similar, like ReptiChip and Exoterra do sort of a version, but I use Ridgway for a number of other products that I've got, so I thought I'd get a couple of these blocks just to try out. So to start off with, you've obviously got to break it all apart. So what I've got here is a 64 litre really useful box, and as you can see with the Herp Husk block inside, and I just cut the top off, and I'm going to add 3 pints of water. Just let that soak in, and I think I then did another sort of 9 pints of water into the bag. Just cutting the top off and pouring it in actually made it a lot easier. And then leaving that to soak, I let it to soak because I was cleaning out vids and things for a good 20 minutes or so. And as you can see, it's quite easy to start breaking it off. Now, you can then see literally how much of a 64 litres, probably about 50 litres of cocoa husk that you get out of one block of this, so it can go quite a long way. Now, so that I'm sort of leaving, and I'm going to sort of get on to cleaning the viv out. So cleaning these vivs is generally quite easy because these are like the iron cage racks, which I did. So I can, if I want to, pull the whole sort of drawer out and give it a proper wash down. But actually it's quite straightforward just in setting in place. And as you can see, I use basically remove all the lignosul, and I had a bit of sphagnum moss and things in, hence the sort of darker colours in there. Cleaned all of that out, and then gave it a bit of a hoover, a bit of a vacuum clean, and then where the urates have gone onto the bottom of the cage, I used a scraper, just a sort of a filling knife you can get from any DIY store, just to scrape off those tough bits of urates which are on there. And then not quite finally, but I then bring out the old pink stuff, miracle paste, give that a rub over, and it just completely takes any marks or anything off. And then importantly, follow up with the old F10 disinfectant, and I spray that all the way around, leave it for a bit, and then wipe it all off, and it's absolutely perfect and nice and clean, ready for the substrate. So I then add the Herp Husk to the vivarium enclosure, and I've done it to just a few inches deep, and then put in the branches, hides, and followed up with a water bowl and a bit of plant, a fake plant in there, and of course my thermo hydrometer, which I hang from the branch, and all looking pretty good. So how have I found using the cocoa husk? Well, for my dream school ball python, I've kept the cocoa husk going. I think it's kind of worked quite well for her. Now for I did also add it in with my two green tree pythons. However, I think because it was quite damp, I mean it was the humidity went up to into sort of 80% or so. So it was probably maybe a bit too damp. My green tree pythons have got probably less ventilation coming through the cage, and as a result mould started to appear. So I decided against using it within their enclosures, so I've removed that and replaced in both those enclosures with the orchid bark, which I use for my Bolin's pythons, and that's perfect. And as you can see, just a quick clip up here of a really nice perfect shed just a few days after from my Lagatha, my green tree python. So it's been a bit hit and miss for me, I think, perhaps, and I've now since seen this a bit more with a few other people, that I should have basically done the water thing, got all the Herp Husk in the 64 litre rub, and then left it, and not immediately put that into the enclosures. I think that might probably have been a bit of a better way of doing it. I do see a lot of people that actually have sort of prepared all of the sort of Herp Husk or ReptiChip way, you know, plenty in advance, so they've got that ready to add as and when's needed. So I'm going to, I've still got a bit left, and I've got another block. I'm just going to carry on just to see how I get on with it, but I might, just for the ball pythons, to use the coco husk just to try it out for a bit and just see how I get on. Don't want to make too many changes for them. I almost forgot one of the other things that is a bit irritating with the herp husk or coco husk in general is if it gets into the water dish, it discolours it. Now, I've got absolutely no idea whether that is harmful to the snakes. I doubt it is, because otherwise you literally wouldn't be able to buy it. I wouldn't have thought. However, you know, regardless, you know, you should be regularly cleaning out your water dishes on your in your vivs anyway, in your enclosures. However, it is something it does look a bit horrible and looks a bit yellowy if you have a look at the just after a day. Not even a day, in fact, just a few hours of a bit of coco husk going in. Fortunately, with with these LP rack holders, the sort of water dish holders that I use, I just keep the substrate a little bit lower, and it seems to keep it out. But certainly something that's not you wouldn't get with Lignocell, for example. So something to bear in mind. But it does look really nice, as you can see. I think it does look a little bit better from a more naturalistic sort of approach. So quite happy with that. See how it goes. So watch this space. Now I'm going to do another video very shortly, just on a sort of a parasite check that I'm doing with an online sort of veterinary company for one of my bolins, just to do you know, a check on a fecal check, just to see how easy it was to do it in terms of ordering, getting the results back, what the results tell me and what I need to do as a result. I'm just waiting for the results to come back, so once that happens I'll do a very quick video. It will be a short one, but it might be helpful for anybody who's getting an imported animal, or indeed just wants to do an annual check on their animal's well-being, to make sure everything's okay. So don't forget to subscribe if you haven't. Thank you so much for all of those people that have subscribed. I've had a few recently, some really good conversations going on in the comment section, so please don't hesitate to reach out to me. If I don't know the answer, I might know somebody that does, so it's always worth asking. And hopefully you'll be pretty close to hitting that 300 mark, which would be a bit of a milestone for me, and I'd be really happy if I could manage to do that by you know, sometime next year or so. It'd be brilliant. Anyway, take care, and I will hopefully speak to you or do another video soon. Take care. Bye.